In Lesson 5.1, you will be solving linear inequalities by adding or subtracting. Solving inequalities is very similar to solving equations. The difference is in the end, you'll have a solution that involves an inequality symbol. First example is solve x minus 12 is greater than or equal to 8. Check your solution. Well, we are going to solve this just like an equation. To get the variable by itself, we're going to add 12 to both sides. We end up with x on the left is greater than or equal to 20. That means the solution is all the numbers that are greater than or equal to 20. This answer is often written in what's called set builder notation. Set builder notation looks like this. For this particular problem, we would write x, and then we put a line, in x, and then greater than or equal to 20, and then close it off. And that's read the set of all numbers x such that x is greater than or equal to 20. This is how you will be writing your answers on your assignment. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to graph the solution, because this isn't just a single number answer, it's a set of numbers. It's all the numbers that are greater than or equal to 20. So to do that, first of all, we just need to review from earlier in the year that if it's a less than or greater than symbol, that means it does not include that number, so we put an open circle. And if it's a less than or equal to or a greater than or equal to symbol, we fill in the circle because it does include that number in the solution. Since this is a greater than or equal to 20, it includes it, so we put a closed circle, filled in circle on the 20. And then our arrow is going to go to the right because it's the numbers greater than or equal to 20, and those are found to the right of 20 on the number line. You may want to pause the video and try the next two on your own. All right, to solve this one, we're going to, instead of subtracting 8, we're going to add 8 to both sides. So we have 30 is greater than m. Now, most times you're going to see the final answer written with the variable on the left, so we're going to rewrite it with the variable on the left, the 30 on the right. But if we flip those two numbers around, we also have to flip the symbol around. Therefore, it's still pointing at the m and open to the 30. And then in set builder notation, put your little squiggly bracket, an m, a line, m is less than 30, close it off. Now when you go to graph this, you need to make sure 30 is on your number line. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure 30 is on here. And then I'm going to put at least one number above and below it. Since this is kind of mushy for my marker, I'm going to skip a little bit and go to 32. And I'll put 28 here. Now I'm going to put my circle on 30, and I'm not going to color it in because it does not equal 30. It has to be the numbers less than 30. The ones less than 30 go to the left. I like to draw my arrow up above like this so it's easily seen. Sometimes it's hard to tell if you do it right on the line, unless you're using a different color than what your number line is made from. Next one, d minus 14 is greater than or equal to negative 19. You would add 14 to both sides. D is greater than or equal to negative 19 plus 14. Since they're different signs, you subtract, keep the sign of the one with the greater absolute value. And then in set builder notation, all real numbers d such that d is greater than or equal to negative 5. So we need to make sure negative 5 is on our number line. and then we need to put some numbers above and below. Be careful with negative numbers. Remember, -4 is going to be to the right of -5. And then this would be -3. Here's -6. This is -7. Sometimes kids number their number line incorrectly with the negative numbers because they make the numbers, they would put a -6 here, or sorry, -6 here. So we put a circle on the -5 and we color it in because it can equal -5, and we want all the numbers greater than or equal to -5, so it goes to the right. One other thing to point out here is that as long as you have your answer written with the variable on the left, the direction of your arrow is going to be the same direction that your inequality symbol is pointing. This one is pointing to the right, arrow goes to the right. This one is pointing to the left, the arrow goes to the left. Next example, solve m plus 19 is greater than 56. To solve this, you'd subtract 19 from both sides. And you get m is greater than 37. So you would choose choice C. Our next example has variables on both sides. Solve these just like you solve equations. If I have a variable on both sides, I get rid of the variable on one of the sides. To do that, to get rid of 3a completely, you're going to subtract 3a because 3a minus 3a is 0a's. If I subtract 3a from the left, I have to subtract 3a from the right. So I end up with 6 is less than or equal to a. Now to put that into set builder notation, we're talking about all the real numbers a such that a is greater than or equal to 6. Remember, when we flip these two things around, we have to also flip the inequality symbol around. So now to graph that, we want to make sure 6 is on our number line. Put a few numbers above and below. We would put a circle on the 6. We want to fill it in because it can equal 6. And now we want the numbers that are greater than or equal to 6. So the solution is all the numbers from 6 on to the right, including the number 6. So we color it in. You may want to pause the video and try the next two on your own. Again, we have variables on both sides, so I'm going to get rid of this 9n by subtracting 9n from both sides. So I have -1 is less than n. Now in set builder notation, that's all real numbers n, such that n is greater than -1. So now when I go to graph that, I want to make sure -1 is on the number line. -1's on the number line, and I'm going to circle it but not color it in because it cannot equal -1. I want the ones greater than -1. The numbers greater than -1 go to the right. In this next example, I would subtract 4h from both sides. (5h minus 4h is 1h. H is less than or equal to 12. Then in set builder notation, we would write h, all real numbers h, such that h is less than or equal to 12. And then I'd make sure 12 is on my number line. Make sure you get some numbers above and below. We would fill in a circle on 12 because it can equal 12, and we want the ones less than or equal to 12. So this time we're going to move to the left. The last thing we're going to do is look at some word problems and write an inequality from it to solve. Some words to look for. If it's just a less than or greater than, you would look for this to help you. If it's a less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, it means it includes that number. So here are some keywords to maybe look for to help you identify which symbol to use. It says Felipe needs for the temperature of his leopard gecko's basking spot to be at least 82 degrees. At least 82 degrees. That means it can be 82 degrees or more is what they're looking for. Currently the basking spot is 62.5 degrees Fahrenheit. How much warmer does the basking spot need to be? Well, right now the temperature is 62 and a half. 62 and a half plus however many more degrees warmer it needs to be greater than or equal to 82 since it needs to be at least 82. So then to solve this, you would subtract 62.50 from both sides, or 62 and a half, sorry. 82 minus 62 and a half is 19 and a half. So it would have to get at least 19 and a half degrees warmer. So it would need to be 19 and a half or more degrees warmer. The last example, Sanjay has $65 to spend at the mall. He bought a t-shirt for $18 and a belt for $14. If Sanjay wants a pair of jeans, how much can he spend? Well, he's got a t-shirt for $18, a belt for $14. He wants to buy some jeans, so I'm going to use J for the price of the jeans. And if he has $65 to spend, that means he could spend less than or equal to $65. Because he could spend less than 65, but he can't spend more than 65. And he could spend exactly 65. So that's the symbol we would use. 18 plus 14 is 32. So I'm just simplifying the inequality. 32 plus j is less than or equal to 65. Then I would subtract 32 from both sides. Then j is less than or equal to 33. So he could spend at most $33.